Okay, welcome to IT Idiots, episode 52.
Two-ish.
It is, yeah. So my name's Nicholas Hill.
I'm Nicky Curtis, hi.
And now look, we're all like DLTV almost and everything.
Yeah, we're back at school.
Back at school, yeah. It's a professional environment in
So
which
we've gone from sofa to... Mind you, your sofa was reasonable, wasn't it?
Yeah, you kept complaining about the fact it was orange.
Yeah, I'm just a bit worried we were trying to be too posh, that's all.
Not posh, professional.
Professional, that's it.
You said to me you needed money. You said you needed to be earning shitloads of money from this because you were about to get fired for incompetence. Oh, sorry. So another HD podcast that we're going to be doing. So I think we had some nice feedback, and I certainly had loads of emails.
Yeah, you still can't see it on iTunes very easily, can you? I think
can't search on it.
But if you click on our link from our website, you get there, can't you?
Yeah.
Presumably that's just a matter of time, I guess.
Yeah. New feature for this week for the website: Skype. Going to be adding Skype in. So by the time this goes out, you can contact us, leave us messages.
We're going to do it this time.
How dare you? That's outrageous. It's all in the backgrounds, ready to go.
So what's our Skype? Do we have our Skype address or?
It'll yes.
Watch this space.
No, we're IT idiots. I signed up for that whilst that was still available. So you'll be able to contact us through our website anyway.
But can we use Skype now? It's quite unreliable, I hear.
I don't know. It might be down for days, but anyway, we're waffling. So HD was good. I think we're going to stick with that most definitely. Mm-hmm. And this week we're going to have a look at Joomla 1.5, the new beta version of Joomla. We covered that. It's got to be about 20 or 30 episodes looking at version 1. Now, I don't know, some of you may be aware that our website is actually a Joomla content management system itself. And it serves us pretty well.
It's pretty good. What version is that?
It's version 1.13, the latest patch version. But obviously Joomla 1.5 is coming out, and it's been in beta for a little while now. So we're going to take a look at the beta version. Still not fully released, and it hasn't got a fixed release date as of yet. But I felt it was worth looking at and sort of covering, because I know that the last time we did it, we didn't go through sort of the administrative back-end stuff in very much detail, and that was really what I think a lot of people were actually interested in looking for. So that's what we'll cover. And what we'll do is we'll focus more on actually doing something useful with the website and getting it up and running.
So the question I want to always ask, because I don't deal with our website at all, is...
No, you don't.
I want to know, if I want to... how do we go about creating our website? So we need some web space with what in particular?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to run it in a sort of a test environment here, but you can go and buy pretty much any cheap entry-level hosting package.
So it's anything that says Linux or...
Yeah, it's got to be a Linux-based sort of environment, you know, but they all are a MySQL, Apache, PHP, and quite often you can actually have Joomla as a pre-installed configuration.
Gotcha.
So sometimes they'll pre-install it for you. A lot of the time you get your hosting package, and then from the control panel there's an option to install or deploy, or you can just upload the file as the video I just showed you.
Okay. I haven't seen it yet.
So yes, might as well just dive straight in. I've got a few bits and bobs that I thought we could run through. So let's actually start with our test lab.
The look and feel of it's looking very well, sort of Web 2.0, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It was nice and clean at the start. Eh?
What are we talking about? Our website?
No, not our website. God knows. just the entrance page where they sort of redesigned the...
Yeah, so we basically get presented with two sides to the coin. One which is administering the site, and the other which is the actual site itself. So out of the box, this is what Joomla install is going to give you if you install the basically all the sample data that comes with it, which is quite useful if you're going to play around with it. Actually have a play around with it at home. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start by going straight in. I've got my administrative details saved away, and we'll go in and take a look at it. So immediately we can sort of see we've got this nice clean interface that I guess at first might seem a bit intimidating, because where do I start, what do I do? So out of the box, this is what we're going to get as an install. If we now go into, let's go take a look at some of the settings. So in our global configuration, this was previously a file-based configuration. So you had to be very, very careful with locking these files down and protecting them and making sure they had certain read-write accesses. The whole idea of this new version of Joomla is it's a complete rewrite with security based in mind. With security, I think, being their number one forethought. Certainly things on the old versions, it had to have certain settings in PHP to be compatible that really these days are just a no-no.
Right.
You know, global variables, you've probably heard of things like that.
I used to use them a lot.
So protecting you from things like SQL injection and essentially anyone trying to hack your site. I mean, that's the idea of the complete rewrite from the ground up. So we've got this configuration, and a lot of this we set up in the server side as part of the installation. So mail settings, database, the actual server itself, FTP is now built into it. If we actually come back to the site itself, what we'll actually notice is they've also completely rewritten search engine optimizations.
Okay.
So on our site we put that plug in where now people can sort of find us through Google, because we do a lot of good sort of metadata and tags. And
I did know that.
It just means a lot of that is now actually built into Joomla from day one. So search engine optimizations and search friendly URLs, which is really quite important, is all there and completely rewritten. Again, the rest of this is fairly self-explanatory with sort of your initial meta settings and system configuration. You can turn on debugging, caching, configuration on media and stuff like this. So out of the box, it's pretty much set up to go into a development environment. You need to bear in mind that when you deploy this, you're going to have to really tighten up on security and look at that as a completely separate issue. But for your home machine, it's perfect. Everything just works with no real restrictions. Right. So let's go back to the main control panel, and from here, what we can actually do is let's go and actually start by creating some users. So I've got this new website, and I'd actually like people to start creating some content on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up as a user, as an administrator. So we'll put in Nicky.
Yeah, I noticed when I log into our site, I'm an administrator, and you're a super administrator. What's that about?
It's about precautions.
Okay.
Are you Nicky at IT Idiots?
Yeah.
And your password is going to be, I won't tell people.
Guess it.
I'll make you a super administrator.
Okay.
Would that make you happy?
But it's only in the test lab. I want to be for real.
Now, nice things in this new version are the fact that you can, if you've got a large site that's multilingual, you can set the back end and front end languages, the default languages that people will see. I've only installed English because that's all I'm interested in. Anything else is secondary. We now get to choose in here what editor you're going to have. So I'm going to give you that one. I'm sure it's a good one. And now also this thing called help site. So if you've got a particularly large site, you can actually have integrated in all your own local help. But what we'll do is, because we don't, we'll just use the standard Joomla help, and we'll save that account. So you've now got an account. Oh, yes. I'm trying to do a podcast. Little Mac application popping up there. So I think that's probably actually tried to send you an email.
Okay.
That's probably what it was doing. But you won't have got it without, so don't worry about it.
Was I not? No.
So, right, next thing that we can have a look at is they've completely overhauled something called Media Manager. And this is quite nice because on your website you're going to want to be able to have pictures and graphics and all sorts of nice fancy sort of things to sort of smarten it up and make it look interesting
this is all part,
to people.
if I remember rightly, this is all part of SQL, is it? Or is this actually a file system we're looking at?
No, this is all driven by SQL, but in terms of data. But the images are stored locally on the actual server. I think there's actually an option to be able to put it into a SQL database, but I think that's a plugin that it requires. And for me, graphics and databases have never.
Yeah, I always wondered why
not
would
on
we
this
do
level.
that?
Not on this level.
I suppose portability is good.
Yeah, not on this level for me.
So imagine putting one of our episodes in SQL. That couldn't be good.
So what I'm going to do is we've got this off the bat. I'm going to actually upload some files and put some images into here. So I've got a couple pre-prepared. So I'm going to select those, and now what you can see down here is we've got Nikki and Nick, and I can start the upload, and you can see that's now uploaded those to the server, and there are our ugly mugs. So really easy to manage your images, and you can put stuff into all sorts of subfolders, and you can create your own subfolders, and again sort of get a logical layout, especially if you're working with a lot of images. And there are lots of different ways of viewing these. I really can't be bothered to go into them in any detail because it's just not worth it.
Sure.
Let's just have a look. Isn't that ugly?
I could use that for Facebook. That's a nasty picture.
Right, so happy with that. I really want to delete that, but I won't just yet until you're gone.
What are you going to do?
Right, menus. Menus are really quite important within Joomla because you've got the ability to create all sorts of menus in all sorts of different sort of looks and layouts. And so by default it's sort of created all these menus that give examples of different ways in which menus can work. And if we go into, this is a really important one that most people take forever finding this out. And it's a bit of a weird one, it's probably a legacy thing. But if you take the main menu and the home item and it's a default entry and I don't think you can delete it, from within here you can actually lay out how your front page looks.
Right.
So what we can do is we can sort of say, well, if we go back over here, we've got one leading article and then we've got what they call these sort of small, I call them snippets of articles, yeah? But let's say, for example, on my website, intros, that's what they call them. Let's say, well, actually, I want to have 3 leading articles.
Do we know that when we started Joomla?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can apply that. And now if I just go back in and look at this front page, what we can actually see here is we've now got 3 leading articles and then these intro articles. So that's where that is, because I know that's one of the biggest questions.
Well, I was looking for that when I was making our website a long time ago.
And there are a lot more sort of advanced parameters that you can actually look at and configure how your website, I mean, look, all of these you can configure and make them defaults. And again, you can look at that in a bit more detail, certainly when you're trying to work out how to, fine tune how your website looks and feels. So that is a really useful one. Let's move on to content itself. If I now come down to here, content is divided. You can really sort of categorize content in 3 ways. You've got sections, so you can create a section of your website. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by creating a section called podcasts. So let's do a new section. So it's a general sort of overview categorization. So I'll call that podcasts. I've never really understood aliases. They must have a use for some people, but for me, I've never really seen how they work.
I got an alias for you, mate.
This is where interesting, great.
It's a nice keyboard you're using there.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's quite flat.
It's my new Mac keyboard. So let's create that, and we'll basically save that. So we've now created a section. Let's go in and create a category within that section. So I've got podcasts, so I guess a good category might be IT idiots. So we'll create that, and what we're going to do is we'll add that to the section podcasts, and this is all about that legendary show. And we'll save that. So I've got essentially now a category as part of a section, but what I would like to do is tie this in, and let's actually go and create a new menu for all this new content that we're creating. So we'll go into Menu Manager and let's actually create in a new menu. So the menu type we'll call our content. Great content. All about content. And module titles. This looks quite interesting. I haven't had a chance to look at this in too much detail, but it looks like you're going to be able to do development work, so based around sort of identifiers or keys to do with modules and taking things and really manipulating how they're viewed on the website. There's not too much come out about this, but I'll give it a name anyway, and we'll call it
Content.
NC, new content. We'll give it a tag identifier.
That's my initials.
Oh yeah. Right. So we've got this new great content section. If we go to our website and we refresh this, can't see anything. I've done all this work and I really can't see anything, nothing to show for it. What you need to do is you need to come over to the module manager, and in here what you'll actually be able to see is created that menu as a module. So by default anything you create, because it's assuming you've got a live website,
Right.
is not enabled or not published. So what we can do is we can come into here and we can do all sorts of things. We can say, well, this particular menu, we'll put it on the right hand side. Yeah, we'll show a title and we'll call this great content, and yeah, we'll enable this. So we'll open this out to the world. We'll save that, and if we go back in here and refresh, over on here we've got great content, but there's nothing in it. Absolutely nothing in it. So let's come back over to our menu. Let's go into this time. What we'll actually do is go into the great content menu, and let's create a new entry within the menu itself. So we'll link into articles, and you've got all these different sort of types of articles you can link into. And for this one, we'll actually link into the let's link into the section, and let's do it as a blog layout. So call it podcasting, and we can display in there. And where did yeah, section. Okay, so let's actually put podcasting in here as the section we want to link to.
Okay.
And we'll leave pretty much the default parameters. It's published. So now what we should be able to see if we go back to here is we've actually got podcasting section. And there are no articles in there at the moment, but we've now created that menu, we've got it on here. So let's actually go and create some content for our website. I think that would probably be quite good. So let's go into Article Manager, and these are all the articles that have been pre-installed.
Right. Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll create our own. And I think what we'll do is we'll call this episode 50. iLife. Oh wait, episode 50 was iLife.
It was,
wasn't
yeah.
it? 50. So we'll put. I'll tell you what. We'll do this is let's insert an image. So in here we can click on this button. We get this nice little overlay pop up, and let's choose.
Not me, you. First thing on that.
Okay, and we'll align that left, and let's insert that. That's quite a large picture. I mean, albeit a gorgeous one. Let's just go in and adjust that appearance, and we'll say, well, we'll constrain that to sort of 100 by 100. I don't think I should ever be constrained.
It could be smaller.
That's what I've just done.
No, smaller, 100.
Smaller than 100.
So like two before.
Right. So in this episode, we look at iLife on.
So the old one, the one that we're using, is easy. It's not as easy to do this.
It is. Yeah, it's just not quite as intuitive or straightforward. Okay. They've really sort of made it so easy to do. So do that, and then I'll tell you what. Let's insert a link. View here, and then what we can do is we can literally highlight here and put in a URL. Insert. Oh, I'll tell you what I didn't do. That's right, no, that's fine. So, let's now actually save that. Oh, so it's actually telling me what I've got, asking me to actually do something. Right, so podcasts, IT idiots, save that. Let's go back into here, and let's now follow our menu system down. We've actually got the article there, so we could click on that and it'll take us through to IT idiots. So that's quite cool. Let's come back over to here though now. What I thought we'd do is, because in episode 50 we actually we created some amazing
YouTube one.
Yeah, we created some amazing content, didn't we? So I thought, why don't we actually have a go installing a YouTube plugin for Joomla? So I've pre-downloaded it, and if we come over to, I think probably should give the guy a plug, shouldn't we? Yeah, here we go. So within the Joomla extension directory, you can search for all these plugins. It's the EasyTube YouTube plugin, and we can go to the guy's website. It's probably worth giving Paul Bain a plug, because he is British as well.
Okay.
So he's written this little plugin, and you can get that from his website or from the Joomla website. So again, the extensions directory is your home for just about all these plugins that anyone ever writes. So I've already downloaded that to save a bit of time. So let's just browse for that, and I think I'll put it in documents. Yeah, EasyTube. Let's open and upload that file. That's installed. So that's done. That's literally that component installed. A couple of things that are worth having a look at, and we'll sort of come on a little bit into as to what these are. What they've done is they've replaced things called manbots, because Joomla was originally Mambo. Then the people left and created Joomla, and Mambo's kind of died. So they've got rid of these manbots, and they've replaced them with plugins. And plugins literally are just like anything else that you know plugins for. They can extend some functionality, and that's essentially what we've done. Is EasyTube is a plugin. Now by default it's turned off, so we're going to enable that. Now something else that I really want to bring to people's attention, because it drove me nuts earlier today. I mean, sort of over the past few weeks that I've been studying, and understanding this, is here we go. System legacy. Because everything has to be rewritten for 1.5, if you want to install plugins that were written for version 1, you need to enable this thing called system legacy. And without it, you'll find that a lot of the older components that are out there that haven't yet been fully ported to 1.5 just won't work. So we'll enable that and get that up and running. So now what we can do is, that's installed. We've got the EasyTube installed. Let's go back to our article, and let's just probably on the last page. So we've got 3 pages here. Another nice thing is we can filter. So if I just do podcast, and then we can see our episode 50. What we can actually now do is, as well as having our link there, so now what we can also do is we can now embed YouTube videos into our website. So if I just come down here, and I'll put it after my great picture. You literally use this tag prefix YouTube, and that's in the documentation for this plugin, and then the URL of the YouTube video, and that's it, in time-honoured fashion. So let's just save that, and let's go back to our website, and if we refresh that page, so there's our great video. I actually went to the website and had a look. We've had quite a few viewings, and a lot of people are giving it 5 stars.
I was embarrassed. We could have done so much better with planning, eh?
We could have. You could have done.
I know, like Steve Jobs, eh? But
still. Anyway, so there we go. Look, I've embedded YouTube into this site so easily.
Yeah.
And I mean, the nice thing about that is if you're maintaining your site, and as you say, you've got all sorts of content that you know is on YouTube that you just want to put in here.
Yeah.
How easy was that to put into your page? So yeah, that's that. Something else that's worth mentioning, and this is in the existing version as well, is that what we can do is we can make changes. So add a note, and if you're not quite sure how that's going to look, you can apply that, and you can do things like preview. Now I know preview doesn't show. It has an issue on your local machine with images and some of the plugin type things, okay. But it does allow you to see it. But also by clicking the apply, it's made the changes without closing the page. So bloody handy when you're switching backwards and forwards and want to just F5 on a page just to sort of see, oh, how did that look? And there I can see the added note. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then you can switch back and continue editing. So the apply is a useful one without closing the page out. So we'll close that. Now the other nice thing about Joomla, and something that you've probably noticed our website has been through several evolutions, and I haven't rewritten it. All I've done is I've applied different templates and different looks and feels to it. So some of the earlier ones were a bit more homemade, and some of the later ones might have been a bit more commercially purchased and then re-edited. But templates is a really, really nice way of having look and feel. Now we can go into Template Manager, and by default when you download 1.5 you get two different types of two templates, and you put your mouse over them and see them. And it really is as simple as selecting a template and setting it to the default. Now if we go back into our podcasting and we F5 on that, we can now actually see we've got this great new look and feel. And that's just applying just applying a template. And you can buy these as well. So obviously we got a commercial one that we paid huge amounts of money for. We're still out of pocket on that.
I would imagine we are.
Huge amounts of money. No, they're fairly cheap. I mean, I think like $35 for a professional template.
That's probably about how much you made in donations over the last year, isn't it?
We've been getting money that you've not been telling me about.
Like $35.
Well, who would you do with that $35? So yeah, templates definitely quite good, and you can edit the HTML and the CSS, and I've done this on our site just to tweak it and customize it a little bit. So let's actually look at some of the actual stuff that comes with it. Banners, I mean, they're fairly self-explanatory. You want to put some advertising. You can manage banners and clients in there. Contacts, again, same sort of thing. We'll take a look at a couple of the interesting ones. Let's create a new poll. So, of course, IT idiots improving. Poll 2. Yes.
And 2 is definitely.
No. Who? And we can save that. So we've got this new poll, and what you'll find that we've done is if we now come back into the module manager, this is really, again, modules are sort of units of content, and you can say, well, I want to put that unit here, that unit there, and we can adjust and sort of tweak the layout and the appearance of this. What I'll do is I'll come into polls, and we can see that at the moment the poll that's selected is Joomla. No, I don't want that one. Is IT idiots improving? So we'll choose that poll. Give it a title, IT idiots poll, and it's enabled. But I don't want it showing on the right hand side of the screen. I want it on the left. So again, I can adjust exactly where things appear. Now within Joomla, what they do is when they create these templates, they sort of have different sort of identifiers for areas, and these are the common ones, things like advert, bread trail, that's right, crumb, breadcrumbs. And essentially what you do is when you buy a template, you get a sort of an overview of where things are. So you can say, well, I want that to appear up in the top right hand corner of the screen, and you can put it into the correct assign it the correct sort of place to be. So I'm just going to be simple and put this on the left, and we'll save that, and let's go back in, let's refresh this. Oh, look at that. And people can vote and look at results, and look, no one's voted.
Is this our trial site, a live one?
This is a trial site. Bees. Look, IT Idiots Test Lab.
No, I was going to say, it sort of mimics sort of activity on our real one.
Oh, I see, yeah, that's very true. I hadn't thought of it that way. Okay, other good things we can do is we can come in and create things like web links so easily. Let's create a new web link. I don't know, any interesting sites you think we should link to?
I can't think of the name. It starts with IT though. No, I don't know actually.
You idiot.
What website do you look at? Dig.
Let's do IT idiot as the alias. Right, so http itidiots.com, and we'll save that. Oh, got to give it a category. We'll put it in other resources. Save that out. So things like web link managers in there, and if we now come down and go into web links, configuring under other resources, oh, look at that, IT idiots. So it's so easy and so quick, just quickly knocking stuff together. Because once you've got your layout, it's really just about adding content and new content all the time. to keep people interested and coming back.
Yeah.
So we really should start listening to
that's
some
what we
of our
stumbled at.
No, we're getting better now, aren't we? We're creating more content
Yeah.
with the user content section. So that's
Well, we're getting them to create more content.
Yeah, but I've got to put it
I
in,
suppose so, yeah.
and it takes forever. Oh, I've seen now. So something else that's quite nice that's built into this is something called mass mail. So again, when you receive emails from IT idiots, all I'm literally doing is coming into here and saying, yeah, let's mail everybody, put in a subject, me again, what?
You have won a prize.
Oh yeah.
Please.
And yeah, we can adjust some preferences in there. I don't think they're very interesting. Yeah, prefixes and yeah, boring. And we can now send that, and that will now mass send that out to
me, basically.
To one user. So again, that's a really nice way of being able to very quickly send out content. But you can also, you can tailor who that's going to. Just front end editors or publishers, people like this. That's all very easy to do. So a couple of other things worth looking at, and this is quite nice. I don't know, probably shouldn't be mentioning this, because if you find out about this, life's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to log in now as an administrator, and I believe you have these rights as well. What we can actually do is very, very easily just click on these little links.
I've done that,
and you can,
because I have to correct your spelling.
And you can edit. You can basically edit articles to be better. And we'll save that. And now, if we just go back to home, we can actually read more. We can see I've edited, and I've been able to edit this from the front page without actually going in and the administrative side and editing that. A couple of other little things worth sort of looking at. If you're getting this set up on your machine at home and you're having a couple of installation issues, you can always look at system information, and this is quite handy. It gives you an overview of information here, and if you're going to post on things like the forums asking questions, it's always handy to know what version of PHP you're running. If people ask you for PHP settings, you can get a lot of these that are relevant and pertinent to Joomla, so you can look at all these configuration type issues, and really, really handy way of being able to do this. And directory permissions, again, in the real world, you'd have all these locked down. In your, most of these you'd have locked down because you're not constantly installing things, and it just tightens it all up a little bit. So that's always worth looking at and worth being aware of. Obviously, I think we've covered Joomla.org. That's where you can go and download it for free. The Joomla extensions directory, really, really handy, as we can see over here on the left-hand side, all these categories, and there's just so much good stuff out there. A lot of it's free, some of it's sort of donation, some of it's sort of paid for, but again, just so much good stuff being developed by people. Yeah, so this new Joomla book by Barry North.
Okay.
Yeah, he's actually writing a written book that you'll be able to buy. I've been lucky enough to have a look at the first 4 chapters of the book, and it looks well written and well laid out, and certainly looks as if it's going to be a good resource for people that would like to have some printed material, work their way through it. Obviously, as a compliment to this podcast, because I couldn't get everything across in one podcast. It's not published yet. It's going to be out by Prentice Hall. And again, I think it's probably worth applauding them, the fact that they're sort of willing to publish a book on open source. So Joomla, a user's guide, $39.99. It's probably going to be a well worthwhile purchase.
So can you get it on audible.com?
I don't know. Was that a dig at Audible?
I think that was a joke for the podcast fans. Wasn't
I think so as well, yeah. So, I think that book's going to be worth getting hold of. But I'd say it's fairly intuitive, and along with the forums are really active over on Joomla.org. They're really helpful people over there. Just remember,
people are, aren't they?
Search before you post.
Yeah, I can understand the annoyance.
I really can. But otherwise, people will be more than happy to help you out. And on here, you'll also find a couple of interesting articles going into a bit more detail about what 1.5 is going to bring over 1.0. So I think that about wraps it up, really.
Cool.
I don't know if you've got any questions or thoughts, but
I think it's all covered well, mate.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that.
If you're happy, I think I'm going to wrap that up and call that a day.
Cool.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Eat paper now! Move that melon of yours and get the paper if you can. Pulling that gargantuan cranium about. Give that boy's head like Sputnik. Spherical but quick, punchy and fast. Well, that was also, wasn't it? He'll be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.